Greetings, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. Yes, I am here. Yes, I am here. So I'm going to try to keep it very concise, although there's quite a few things I want to talk to you about this evening. Quite a few. But I'm going to try to keep it concise because I have to prepare for tomorrow. Greetings, everyone. Also, I don't know how this is going to work. I am streaming directly from YouTube today as opposed to through my StreamYard to see if it has an impact on the streaming lags that I've been getting trying to stream through StreamYard. So we shall see. As a matter of fact, let me also see if I can stream through IG. So anyway, greetings. My name is Cassandra Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. And IG, I ain't even got on IG good, and it's already with that bullshit. You feel me? But I read today, actually, that there have been a lot of complaints about IG over the last several months about shadow banning and slow posts and all kinds of crazy shit. So it's not my imagination. So let's see what we can make happen. Anyway, greetings on this here Equinox Eve. As you know, we will fall back this evening. Well, at 5, I think Pacific time, it's 5:45 a.m. We fall back. So we gained an hour. And so just on some what do you call it? Logistical precautions about equinoxes, not necessarily equinoxes, about time changes. The fact that we still entertain time changes, care for yourself, get extra daylight if you need it, sleep extra hours if you can, nap if you need to, just on general, health precautions. One of the side effects, greetings, knowledge born Allah, just on some general health information about time changes is that they are really they take a real mental psychological toll on human beings. It's one of the biggest complaints about the time changes is that people experience depression, have a tendency to experience both time changes, whether it's the spring forward or the fall back. They tend to experience symptoms of depression, depending upon where you are in the country, potentially seasonal affective disorder symptoms. If you already are prone to depression, that can sharpen statistically during time changes. The suicide rate goes up and the homicide rate goes up. Violent crime rate goes up around time changes. So just care for yourself. If you find you're not going crazy, first of all, if you find that you need more time to sleep, more time to rest, periodic naps during the day, set an alarm clock for 20 minutes, get yourself a power nap, whatever you got to do to kind of transition through this bullshit of, the European imposition to manipulate time. So anyway, that's one thing I would like to say about that is just to be gentle with yourself this week. If you need to take some herbs that may help, help ease you into it. Some good suggestions are St. John's wort, valerian root, kava, passion flower. These are all chamomile. These are all like calming herbs. They help, some of those herbs help with circadian rhythm. Some of them help with adjusting to the time change. Some help with depression, right? So even if you made a cocktail that contained all of them or at least 3 of those herbs, you'll be better off in about a week or two, just to get the edge off the time change, the imposed time change. Okay. So um, I had promised Tajali, which I'm not going to do because I'm not prepared to. I'll be prepared next week, that I was going to do a play-by-play on the bell ceremony that I talked to you guys about last week. That was, I think it's called the Commonwealth Games in England, but I really want to be better prepared. And this week I was not. So I'm going to do that next Saturday for the temple service. I'm going to do the bell service, but I have to change the time of the temple services. And I haven't decided what that time is going to be, because today, let me tell you about not synchronicities, but being divinely tapped in. You know what I'm saying? Being possessing divine knowing. So a week ago, I decided, because I've gained a lot of weight, like in 2 months. I'm like, why am I gaining so much weight? And so I was like, the gym, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, what can I do other than join the gym? And it's been 6 years since I took a dance class, like, a regular dance class. And a friend of mine gave me the number of the woman that she takes dance lessons with. Ma'am, no, you've been doing too much all day. Go on about your life. So she gave me her number. So this morning, which is why I didn't do temple service this morning, is because today was my first day of this dance class. And mind you, I haven't taken a dance class. I go dancing, but going dancing is different. That's just cutting up, la 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 la. You don't realize how different it is to just go. I can dance for 3-4 hours hard, getting it. That is different. I'm taking belly dancing classes, and just the discipline of structure, of lengthening, of all of that stuff. Child, I got woe out today. It was only an hour class, but I got my ass handed to me today in that class, and it felt great. I was like, yes, I'm hurt everywhere, but this is awesome, right? So whole day goes by, I'm doing this, doing that, la 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 la. I sit down to do some dumb scrolling on Facebook, and did not realize that today is International Dance Day. Talk about being divinely tapped in. I've been planning for a week. Yes, I'm coming to this dance class, come hell or high water. I don't care how hot, tired I am. I don't care how sleepy I am. I'm going to get my behind up on this Saturday, go to this dance class. I go to the dance class. It was great. Got my butt handed to me by an 89-year-old woman. The woman teaching the class is 89, y'all. Killing the game. You feel me? Got home this evening, several hours later, and come to find out today, my first day of taking dance classes in 6 years, almost 7 years. My first day taking dance lessons again, getting back into the swing of things, is International Dance Day. I was like, well, look at that. Come on. So that's how it started the day. So I do have to figure out what time on Saturday is going to be a better time for me to do temple service, since I'm going to be doing dance classes every Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So I'll keep y'all posted about that, but this is why I'm doing it now. Okay. And then some housekeeping. I left my thing in the car, but I am, it's going to be an eventual thing if I end up doing my lives this way, where I'm just streaming straight through YouTube instead of using StreamYard. I like the platform, but they don't have the kinks worked out, and I can't pay $88 a month for every single solitary live I do to have complications in it, to have slags and drags and shit in it. So I have to figure out how to do the cute shit on YouTube. That's something I'm gonna have to learn. Like, I usually have like my information across the bottom, and all that kind of cute little shit. The title of the thing is usually right there. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Plus the fact that with StreamYard, I was able to, bring you guys on so that you guys could participate in the discussion. I don't know if that's even an option here. You feel me? So some kinks I have to work out. So I'll be doing that over the next week. Tomorrow is the equinox. I will be doing readings half the day because I have an event that I have to set up at tomorrow to do cupping, to do fire cupping. So I'll be offering readings tomorrow, which is the equinox. Obviously, a pivotal day to be getting readings. But also, let's see, the equinox, and I told you this week is pretty huge. So tomorrow, the equinox is kicking off a pretty big week. We just came out of the eclipse, which was last Tuesday. I did some really radical readings on Tuesday, y'all. Like readings that had me up in here, like just deep, y'all. Just deep. Like, whoo. Really powerful readings last Tuesday. And I'm just like, I get it. We all burdened. There's a lot of shit going on. I get it. But it's those moments that, especially like when I'm reading for people, where we connect. The person who has, called on me, and we connect in a way that is like palpable. Yeah, I know, Carlotta. Y'all ahead of the curve. You know what I'm saying? Like Carlotta's in Arizona and they don't have a time change at all. That shit fucked me up one year because I went to go see a boo in Arizona, and I woke up. It was on the it was the spring equinox. This was 2016, and it was the spring equinox when I went to go visit, my dude at the time. And I woke up and I was like, what is wrong with my phone? Like everybody's saying it's this time. I'm asking the front desk. I'm like, what's going on with my phone? And they're like, oh, we don't have the time change in Arizona. I was like, what? How y'all do that? Right. So yeah, it's a real thing. Anyway, just to be what I was saying about the readings that I did on the equinox, on the eclipse this past Tuesday, the readings that I did were just, every single one was just so deep, man, like so deep. And I love when we connect. I love that the way that this is happening, this is unfolding with us, is that it's not that you're just calling me to see how you should chart your course for the next coming weeks or what you should and shouldn't do for the week. Like the mother be really showing the fuck out doing these reads, y'all. Like, when I first started doing readings for you guys, which was maybe around this time last year, maybe around October, November of last year, when I really started doing, like, putting myself forward to do readings. I would do readings here. I would do readings for others at events, but to put it out here, I think it's only been about a year. And, it's like, I tell y'all all the time, in my own personal life, in my own personal journey, in my own personal walk with the mother, because of the way that I entered this journey, because of the scientist in me, the way I prayed when I first started doing this walk with the mother. No, sir, not you neither. Boy, move. Look, y'all doing too much. Go on back to life. Go. I'll do too much. In this walk, I prayed like a scientist would pray. You feel me? Like, I need some empirical evidence. Like, if you real, I need some empirical evidence. You feel me? And baby, every single time, without fail, from that day to this, that is how prayer unfolds for me. That is how the mother shows up in my life. That is how my ancestors show up in my life. It's like, knock, knock, knock. Bitch, we want you to know it's us. Not subtle, not here's some things you may need to interpret. Google 444, Google, none of that. None of that. Butt naked and in full effect. It's just us. It's just me. Every time, all the time. And that's been my own personal walk. That's been my own personal experience. I've told y'all story after story after story of, I'm telling you, explicit ways that, you know, the mother has shown up when I make a request, right? Like, let me give you a short example. I was driving across the country and I had two main requests. Two main requests on this journey across the country. I wanted antlers of some form because I had been wanting antlers for a long time for my ancestral altar, big antlers, like big antlers, and then I wanted to experience the sweat lodge. All right, I was like, I'm not gonna go looking for anything. If it's for me, I want it to be gifted to me. If the antlers are for me, I want them to be gifted to me. If I want them to come to me, that's what I said. I want them to come to me. If the sweat lodge is for me, I want to be invited, right? I drove all the way across country, cross during hunting season, cross all these southern states. Boom, 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 boom. I ended up on Taos Pueblo Reservation in Taos, New Mexico. And not even looking, never looking. I was like, if it's for me, it's coming to me. You feel me? The woman that had invited me to stay with her on their land, on the reservation, we were driving around one day. She was just showing me the land. And on reservations, I mean, it's just like out here. You know, they got little convenience stores and gas stations and this little post office and all that shit. So we go to this corner store to get some snacks. we pull into the parking lot of this corner store, and there's the corner store, and on the other side of the corner store is a trailer that's got a big giant gate around it, like one of those chain link gates. But it's a big ass trailer, chain link gate, and I'm telling you, 30 or 40 pairs of antlers strewn all over the front yard. I'm getting goosebumps just telling y'all this shit. I'm telling you, antlers strewn everywhere on the porch, all in the front yard. I was like, what the fuck? Lynette was like, girl, what's the matter? I was like, you don't understand. I have already driven through 10 states during the height of hunting season and haven't seen a pair of antlers anywhere. She was like, and I was like, this is a prayer. This is a prayer fulfilled. She's like, what? I was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I said, look, I'm about to go over here. I'm about to go and knock on these random people door. I go open the gate on this reservation to somebody's house. Open the gate, knock on the door. This little native girl, maybe 4 or 5 years old. Now, mind you, I'm on the res, so they probably ain't seeing. Plus, I'm in Taos, New Mexico. They probably ain't seeing a lot of black folks like that. You feel me? She opens the door and she's like, hello? I was like, hey, sweetheart, how you doing? Is your mama home? She said, mama, somebody's out here on the porch. The mom comes out on the porch. Girl, get your behind down. Say, hey, you nosy little heifer. Gone. Because now you're doing too much. Go on about your life. Hey, everybody. Hey, y'all. Go. The woman comes to the door and she looks surprised and confused too. She's like, hello? I said, look, I know this is strange and my request is going to be even stranger. I said, I have driven across the country and I would like to buy a pair of these antlers. She's like, you want some of these antlers? I was like, yes, ma'am. I want to buy a pair of these antlers. That's what I said. I want to buy a pair of these antlers. You know what she told me? She said, yep, that's a strange request. But since you made it, I will gift you any pair you want. I will gift you any pair you want. Pick the ones you want. When I say they come through loud, you feel me? So that happened. And then the same thing happened with my request for to enter a NEPI, to do the sweat lodge. I drove across the country. I slept on five reservations: Yamasee, Zuni, Taos Pueblo, Apache, and Morongo. 5 reservations. I slept on 5 reservations. Never once. I got invited to some radical shit, but I never once got invited to the sweat lodge. Not once. The second week that I was in California, the second week, a homeboy of mine was like, "Yo, um, there is this this concert that slash thing happening at this art at the Vincent Price Museum. You need to go. I think it's something you'll be really into." I go, meet this sister who is so cute, so dope. I'm like, "Girl, you are fly. Like your whole outfit, your whole little hair, you cute, right?" This is how we start talking. And we end up talking the rest of the night, she and I, Mexican woman. We end up talking all night. Towards the end of the night, she was like, "I know we've just met. I don't know you and you don't really know me, but would you like to go to the sweat lodge with me and my friends on Monday?" The second week I was here in California. The second week that happened. You feel me? And so I told you those short stories because that's how she shows up. Depending upon what it is that we require and we request and how we call it into the space is how they're gonna show up. If we beg and lament and woe, or are we timid in our quote prayer or casting our conspiracy, that's how, if it shows up at all, that's how it's gonna show up. Flimsy, you know what I'm saying? Needing to be interpreted and all of that shit. So when I do these readings, this is my own personal walk and relationship with a mother, but it's not separate from what I do with you and for you. And so I did a few days ago, I did a live and I was talking about and I was talking about what was I talking about? I was talking about dang, I just lost my train of thought. About I was talking about my experience when I went to the Hare Krishna temple on Sunday, and this back and forth that I have done for a pretty long time about pomp and circumstance, right? About what spiritual life and spirituality will look like under the auspice of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. I recognize that, and it's never something that I've said I wouldn't do in earnesty. What I did say is that I will not be out here performing ceremony for you, performing the pomp and circumstance in a way that makes it a crutch for you. I will not do that. I won't do that. And I feel like that's why I have waited so long to even entertain what ceremony will look like for us, what the process will look like for us going into the desert the way that we did, and me burying these women, allowing me, having enough confidence in me to allow me to bury them in the ice cold dirt in the middle of the desert with coyotes howling around us and carrying on. You feel me? What does that mean? What does ceremony actually mean? And how do we create a culture where we do not make some rigid, dogmatic, distinct, hey, cut it out right now, turkey, where we don't make this rigid, dogmatic distinction between our regular life and our spiritual life. Do you understand? And so I went to this presentation at the Hare Krishna Temple on Sunday. I didn't even talk to you guys about the content of this man's presentation, y'all. And I took notes. I was studying. And I'm sitting here looking at all these people in this room, 200 people in the room, praying and worshiping and touching their head to the floor and raising their hands, Adi, Adi, Krishna, Adi, and listening to the content of this man's presentation, and was offended. But the execution was beautiful. I said, oh, okay. I see why people are in here caught up. People are shaking their heads and nodding. Yes. Black people. I can believe how many black people was there at a Hare Krishna temple. I was like, damn, who knew? I ain't know people, I ain't know black folks got down like that. Hadi Krishna, Hadi. I just did not know. I did not know. There was a bunch of white people there. There was a bunch of Indian people there, and there was a bunch of black people there. Y'all, old, young, babies. I was like, this is interesting. This man is doing his presentation. I'm gonna have to read y'all some of these notes. I wasn't planning on, but I'm gonna do it now while it's in my head. So these people doing something. I'm sitting. They like yes, yes. Oh yeah. Every time he say something out of his mouth, yes, yeah, yes. Like it's really resonating with them, and I am listening to what he's saying and what they are resonating with in like affirmation. Oh, God. I was like, child, this shit is over. This shit is over. I don't know. Maybe this shit is over. Because if this is what people are resonating with, I don't know. Yo, but that shit had me in a way. You feel me? That shit had me in a way. Then the monk that invited me, and he's a nice guy. I didn't know he was a monk when I met him because he was in, street clothes. He don't have the little thing. He don't have the little Hare Krishna little cutout spot there. No, he had a baseball cap on. That's what it was. So I didn't see his little Hare Krishna little thing there. You feel me? Nice guy, cool dude. He walked me around the place. He was telling me about the place and the museum and the this and the that. It's a gorgeous setup. I told y'all last week they got 2 city blocks of properties, 3 or 4 apartment complexes in this little city block. They got a whole community center. They got a whole restaurant, a big, beautiful store where you can get clothes made for you at the store. It's jamming. Beautiful museum about the history of the tradition. Gorgeous. The dude who came to speak, lives in India. And he was so down to earth. The way he spoke wasn't like super stoic, that performance-y kind of stoic shit. He didn't do that. He cracked jokes. He was very down to earth. You feel me? He didn't have a very, he didn't have, how some people who live in India have a very strong accent, which makes it difficult to like catch everything. He didn't have that, so you can tell he'd been well traveled. He spoke English in a way that you could clearly understand everything he was saying. He cracking jokes, whatever. I told y'all about the singing thing that he did. While he would talk, he would say, something from the thing, you feel me? And then he would say that same thing, like the scripture, as a song, like as a verse from a song. And then the people would, every time he sang, it was like on the mark. Everybody, just like it ain't different when you in church and the preacher say something good that hit you, you feel me? And everybody say, praise him, or amen, or whatever, you feel me? It's like a call and response kind of vibe in there, right? But every time he would sing a verse, everybody would say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Hare, right? So I'm watching this whole back and forth, this whole execution, this presentation. I'm taking notes. I'm like, okay, people are caught up in the energy of and the spirit of. So are they really cognizant of, and ain't nobody in there taking notes. And so everybody looking at me like I'm the weirdo because I got my notebook out and I'm taking notes. You feel me? And so people are affirming in the moment. They in the vibe. You feel me? They in the moment. And so they're like, yes, every time you say something, yes, yes, yes. And I'm listening and I'm like, no, sir, not that. Nope, no. There were so many contradictions in his presentation that I was like, wait, didn't he just say this over here? And it completely contradicts what he just said over here. Let me tell you, let me give you some examples. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The title of his presentation, child, is "The Path of Enlightenment is most defined by a spirit of service without self-consideration." Y'all ain't heard. A spirit of service without self-consideration. Well, if that's the case, black women is the most enlightened motherfuckers on earth. If that's the case, black women are the most enlightened motherfuckers on earth. He said that the greatest path of enlightenment, or the path of enlightenment, is defined by a spirit of service without self-consideration. Okay. He said, and what that means is that I'm not quoting because I took notes in opposition to what he said following up to that. He said that one should seek bliss away from the flesh and the desires of the flesh. One should seek bliss away from the flesh and away from the desires of the flesh. That's what he said. He said one of the things that keeps the devotee committed is the association of devotees. It's ceremony. It's going to church, just like what the church say. You be in the world, but not of the world. You stick with your kind. You stick with Christians. You don't fraternize. You don't fraternize with nobody that ain't Christians because they evil ways can rub the fuck up off on you. You feel me? He's saying essentially the same thing. Is the thing that keeps you devoted to Krishna, is the association of devotees, the coming together of the devotees. Then he talked about the importance of making of your home a temple. And the only way to make of your home a temple is to, what did he say? He said, to transform your home into a temple, one must bring Krishna to the center of the home. You must create the conditions that center Krishna in your life. He talked about diet as a part of that. He talked about, feng shui as a part of that. He talked about how to keep the home and how the home should look and how to prepare food and all of this stuff. To transform your home into a temple, you must bring Krishna to the center of the home. Okay? I'm going to keep going. He said, child, listen to this. Now, mind you, he just said you have to be completely self-sacrificing. You have to be able to service others without any self-consideration. Okay? But then he goes on to say about, now he's talking about in this segment, he's not talking about the individual necessarily. He is talking about like some of the programs that they do there and some of the things that they do there and how they feed people and how they, this, that, and this and that. He said, when your future is assured, he talks specifically about how a person who knows where their next meal is coming from, a person whose rent is paid. This is what he said. I'm not paraphrasing. This is what he said. A person who knows where their next meal is coming, a person whose rent is paid, a person whose foundation is secure. That's what he said. He said, when your future is assured, you are much more enthusiastic and optimistic in the present. That's what he said. He said, when your future is assured, you are much more enthusiastic and optimistic in your present. You feel me? Then, what did he say? That shit blew my mind. Because to me, it just struck as a contradiction. You're talking about you're talking about service without self-consideration. You're talking about monks. The monk that I know, the monk that invited me, lives in his van. He doesn't live in the monastery. He's a traveling monk. So he lives in his van, right? And sells books for the temple. That's what he does. That's how I met him. He sold me several books. He sold me a gang of books, really. And that's how he lives. He lives out of his van. He left India 15 years ago and has been living in his van ever since. Right? Talking about service without self-consideration. Don't worry about it. You know, God got you. Krishna got you. But in the same presentation, he say, you know, when your future is assured, you're much more enthusiastic and optimistic in the present. When your future is assured, when your rent is paid, you understand? When you know you got another meal coming, you feel me? Yes. You can be real optimistic. You can be upbeat, happy, you feel me? In the present. I was like, wow, what a contradiction. Then he goes on. Child, let me tell you what else he said. Let me tell you what else he said. These are just Cliff's notes, really. But he talked about, I don't even know how it came up. I don't remember how it came up. But he was telling a story about one of the personifications of the Krishna that they had up, because they had like, I think, 4 personifications of the Krishna, like stories about his relationships and interactions. And he talked about this story. I didn't catch it all. He talked about the story of a sage who he found, or, you know, I guess Krishna was walking through the woods one day and he came upon a sage with a dead snake around his neck. And this was a sign. I don't even remember what it was a sign of, right? But he said Krishna saw this as an opportunity for service, right? And he says something about, this is the quote though, when the punishment does not match the transgression, this is called injustice. You hear me? He said when the punishment don't match the transgression, this is an injustice. But then he went on to say that justice was not ours to seek, that Krishna is the one that hands down justice. He went on to say Krishna it is not our place to seek justice, that Krishna is the one that hands down divine justice. When the punishment does not match the transgression, this is called injustice. I said, whoa, whoo, right? Then he said, what did he say? He said, I'm trying to, because I just got like bullet points. Every, or the role of the devotee is to always live within Krishna's will, or something like that, right? And then he said, the only way the devotee can live within Krishna's will is to renounce all of your desires and plans. Specifically, he said the renunciation of all your desires and plans is how to live within Krishna's will. And so my notes, because I'm writing my notes as he's talking, you know what I'm saying? Like as he's one of the notes that I wrote myself. So he's talking and the presentation sounds beautiful, you know, like everybody is moved, you know, everybody is putting their head on the ground. And of course, I think Indian culture is beautiful. I have since I was a child. I'm learning to play the sitar, which is an instrument that I have been obsessed with since I was a teenager, since I was 13 years old. Imagine a Black girl from Alabama even knowing what a sitar is, much less being obsessed with Indian music. I have been all my life, right? And I feel like that obsession with Indian culture and Indian music was a preparation for this moment that I'm in right now in my life, where I'm, you know, learning this instrument and learning more about the culture. Okay, cool. But baby, let me tell you what had happened. I'm sitting here in this temple, beautiful, this temple, you guys. I posted some pictures on my Facebook page. Beautiful. The ceiling, everything, every detail, deliberate, right? And all I could think, this is what I wrote. How, in big, bold letters, how is India the example of bliss when women and the dark people there suffer so? How is this religion, any Indian religion, how is this religion, how is this culture like the cornerstone of, quote, beautiful traditions that teach us how to live in right way and all of this shit? How is this the example of bliss when women and black skinned people in India suffer to the degree that they do? How is that? How is it that white people be so moved by Indian religions that they, they toss aside their affluence for a half a minute to go live with a guru in a cave somewhere, or in an ashram somewhere, and sit at the feet of their guru and shit. And looking at the conditions of the people and the most marginalized people in India and seeing the mismatch between the spiritual ideologies and how that shit is manifest or not manifest in the real world, and don't say, damn, this shit mismatch. This shit mismatch. You feel me? That's what I wrote. How is this religion supposed to be the shining example of what bliss on earth means? Bliss means when the people suffer. So the great, there are 3 billion people in India. The great majority of them suffer so much. So while y'all getting your feelings about how I be talking shit about Christianity and Judaism and Islam and all of that, y'all hear me frequently throw Buddhism up in the mix, throw Hinduism up in the mix. You feel me? They don't get no pass. They don't get no pass until I see a single country anywhere on earth where the religious beliefs that dictate the government actually match the conditions of the most oppressed, actually match the ideology and the dogma. Oh, peace and love and bliss and this and that and this and that. And it's actually represented in the lived experiences of the people in the country. I ain't trying to hear shit none of y'all talking about. Now, on how many countries there are on earth? I forget. 194 countries on earth, something like that. Ain't a single country out of 194 countries where there ain't no suffering. Where there ain't no suffering. Where people, especially women, others, aren't catching hell. Not a single one. We can't create a single country on earth where there ain't no suffering. But we got all these beautiful religions, beautiful traditions that's ambiguous and disembodied as hell. So anyway, I didn't mean to spend that much time on it, but I did want to share that with you guys that and it's still going back to the same thing. That yes, I'm going to start very soon, creating guided meditations for you. I am going to start creating conspiracies for you. I am going to start doing these things, the conducting of ceremony and ritual. But I want you to know that if any single one of you failed to see the mother's presence when my hair ain't did or when I'm in my night clothes, because it's not pomp and circumstance, I will stop doing that shit. I'll tell you. We have to be able to see her everywhere. We have to be able to recognize her when she shows up, however she shows up. We do. And that's because it's the only way that we will be prepared to be in this world and not be betrayed by those who have accepted the idea that all you got to do is a little shuck and jive, a little coon dancing for the Negroes, and they'll do exactly what you want them to do. That's why y'all get caught up, because all that shit they do in the electoral process too is pomp and circumstance. Not just the Negro preachers. It's all of that mess. All you got to do is wear some fancy clothes or wear some tennis shoes, and the Negro's going to do just what you want them to do. And they really believe that. They really out here treating us like like we got a third grade education. You understand? And so at the juncture that you fail to see her in me or anybody that looks like me because you can't get past the clothes I got on now, don't get it twisted. I believe that it is important, though I don't do it all the time. I do believe it is important to be I do believe that it is important to be a beautiful and deliberate and willful representative of the mother's will on earth. I do. Because the mother is beautiful. The trees are beautiful, the birds are beautiful, the plants are beautiful. They show up and they show out. So I do believe that it is important to be the best version of ourselves, but not in some phony or forced way. And that if on a day like today where all my grays are showing and I haven't maintenance my hair and I've been in my night clothes all day except when I went to my dancing class, you feel me? That I've just been laid up in here. It's still important to be able to recognize her when she comes into the space. And the pomp and circumstance is what has perpetually betrayed you. It's what's perpetually had you move in opposition to that which serves you. Move in opposition to your own will. What did the girl say in Suicide Squad? It's my profession to get people to move against their own self-interest. How do they do that? Pomp and circumstance. Pomp and circumstance is how they get you to move against your own self-interest. You understand? And so that's all I got to say about that. Dara Resnick, how you doing? Yay, it's good to see you here. So that's all I had to say about that. Now, I want to spend a few more minutes on something that I wanted to talk to you. I didn't intend to talk to you about what I just talked to you about, but it was important. And in a roundabout way, it's relevant. But first I want to say, y'all need to book your motherfucking readings. Okay? You need to book your readings. Tomorrow is the equinox. It is an important day. It is, again, the stone and the slingshot. How are you going to direct that energy, that momentum? Because we have another eclipse coming up on October 7th. So this equinox, straight through the week, straight through to that October 2nd, is big, big momentum energy, right? Get your readings tomorrow. I still have enough time outside of this event to do 5 readings tomorrow. I haven't booked one yet, but I still have enough time tomorrow on the equinox to do 5 readings. That's 5 1-hour readings, or if y'all want to do half-hour readings, that's fine too. For tomorrow and Monday only, if you book your reading within the next 48 hours, okay, just for tomorrow and Monday only for this equinox, this will be my gift to you only for the next 48 hours. If you book your reading, I will send you a gift in the mail and you can choose your flavor. Okay. So I have these goddess necklaces. They are unisex. I've had just as many men order these necklaces as I have women and others for that matter. So this is the short goddess. I only have her in kind of this, it looks black, but this is actually like a deep brown mahogany color. These are made out of deer bone, and then I string them with wire in the JJ Kari shell. This is a goddess necklace. So I have the short goddesses. Those of you who are on IG, you can get the short goddess, or you can get the longer goddess. So this is the uncolored goddess, but you see her little universe in her belly button, right? A little spiral in her belly button for her Ming Men, her third eye illuminated, right? Her chakra stones. So those of you who are on IG, this is carved out of deer bone. Okay. I also have her right now This is another deep brown color. I haven't strung her yet, but this is what the dark brown goddess looks like. And then I have a light brown. This is a tea-stained goddess. Tea-stained goddess. And then I have the purple stained goddess. I really like these. I don't know if you can see the purple that good, but they're very purple. I like to see them. Oh, you can see it good on IG. So the purple stained goddess. These will be strung just like this one. They will have the Kari shells. They will have the chakra crystals, and then they will have either an Om symbol or a white crystal at the top. These will be strung. They won't be naked like this. And then I have the ebony black. So this is actually black. Ebony black goddesses. So I sell these on my Etsy store for $63. Okay. I will send you a free goddess necklace. Girl, ooh. I will send you a free goddess necklace. I'll have it put in the mail by Tuesday if you order a reading within the next 48 hours. So if you book your reading, if you order your reading, I am encouraging you to get your reading within the next 48 hours. But if you book your reading, and you say, I can't do it in the next 48 hours, and you do it during this week, it's still a powerful week. That eclipse is coming up, which is going to be radical. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the world around this eclipse, because y'all remember, this is the completion of that 1 year eclipse cycle, which had us, and the eclipse last October is what was the trigger for that energy, was the trigger for this conflict that we're involved in right now that seems to be unending in the Middle East. So can we get in front of this energy collectively to shift this shit in our direction and in our favor? So order your readings. If you are interested in getting a reading, you email me at releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. 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 And book your reading, and you will receive a goddess necklace in the mail as a thank you and as a powerful gift for taking advantage of the reading within the next 48 hours. So that's all I have to say about that. Now, to switch gears, and this will be the last thing that I talk to you guys about. The rest of the week, I am going to attempt, it's going to be a valiant attempt, okay? Over the next week, I am going to attempt to finish reading the book, Beyond God the Father and Towards a Philosophy of Women's Liberation by Mary Daly. We're not halfway through the book, but I really want to make a valiant effort to finish this book, because the book is not long. It's just visceral. It's very deep, because there's some other stuff that I want to address, that I want to get into. There was something specifically that I wanted to get into. I'm gonna have to think about it. But there was something I had taken out that I wanted to read next. There was something. What was it? Because I said I wanted to read something more practical. Like, I like reading the political and the kind of esoteric woven together, but there was something more practical that I wanted to read next. I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, I remember. Let me tell you. This is what I'm going to read next. Y'all going to have an attitude. Fine. It's whatever. But I have been really feeling a lot lately, that we need to be having more practical conversations about the world that we're in currently, and how we should show up in the world, how we should prepare for the world that we live in. And I pulled out several books the other day. I have a book called Extreme Survival. So some of you may or may not know, I used to be hardcore into like doomsday prepping and survival training and shit like that. Huge, right? And I was never So even when I was into that stuff, it wasn't about end of the world scenarios the way that they were like fantasticizing that shit. It was just about like, damn, there's a lot of stuff that you can learn from quote doomsday preppers that's currently, presently applicable in your life, right? And like, especially me, I'm an avid camper. It is good to know emergency first aid as a camper, as one that goes camping by myself often. It's really great to understand how, if you're in a bind, how to purify drinking water from an open source if you don't have water. You feel me? Those kinds of things. It's like currently applicable stuff, right? So I was really into it. I haven't been into it so much, but I've been really like, I should really start doing this. I should really start prepping again. One of the things, and not just prepping, talking about self-defense as a part of prepping. And I'm talking about like not so common self-defense. So yes, learning hand-to-hand combat, awesome. Learning how to use a gun, learning about gun laws, cool, fine, whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. And so I've been thinking about that a lot. And I thought, what better way to get some not so common old school understanding of self-defense methods than from this wonderful book. And the author, I interviewed this book many years ago. The name of the book is called Medical Revolutionaries. Medical Revolutionaries, the enslaved healers of 18th century Santo Domingo. The enslaved healers of 18th century Santo Domingo. This book is jamming. This book is jamming. This book is jamming. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I ain't gonna say too much else about that. But just within the context of self-defense, quote, doomsday preparation, you know what I'm saying? This book is gangster. This book is great. And it is very practical. And I would imagine upon rereading it, because it's been some time, I would imagine that even though she's talking about 18th century enslaved people, that is probably very currently applicable. Let's see what this page say here. Let's see. Yeah. Now we gonna read. It may be this. I think it's gonna be this. This book is so great though. It's so well written, so well researched. Like it's not conjecture. It was a college professor from Penn State that wrote the book, and it's just great. But something along those lines, like even the Doomsday Preppers, the Extreme Survival book I have, great. I really want to start doing those kind of classes again, like leading those kind of classes, getting recertified to teach first aid, and CPR, all that kind of stuff. You know, teaching people how to use Quick Clot, all that stuff. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking. Yes, Java Watson, you will. It's a good book. It's a good book. Okay, that's all I want to say about that. So that might be what I end up starting next. Y'all know me though. I'm flighty as hell. I might change my mind. We shall see. But anyway, let's go on to the topic at hand. I know it took a long time to get there. So I wanted to talk to you about something that you guys are going to be like, huh? Where that came from? I finally finished watching season 1 of the show Chaos. It was one of y'all fault. I forget which one of y'all did it. But one of y'all, because all y'all be doing it, getting up in my comment section talking about, oh, you got to watch this. Oh, you got to watch that. Oh, I can't wait to hear what you think about this. Can't wait to hear what you think about that. And I be trying to keep up because I know there's jewels in it. I know there's gems in it. But somebody maybe 2 weeks ago was like, you got to watch this show, Chaos. Jeff Goldblum stars in it. The reason she mentioned it is because I just mentioned to you guys I had this lunatical dream about, like, so specific and vivid dream about Jeff Goldblum a couple of weeks ago. I was like, where in the hell did that come from? And in the dream, Jeff was being real generous, y'all. Jeff had me. He was like, yo, I like what you do. I like what you about. This is awesome. I like what your temple is about. I like what y'all doing. And he was like, come meet me tomorrow. I was at a party with a friend. And she was like, this is a Hollywood party, whatever, whatever. And it ended up being Jeff Goldblum's house. And I'm walking around because I'm sticking out like a sore thumb. You feel me? And he comes and sits next to me at the bar. And he's like, I don't know you. Who are you? And I was like, oh, I'm here with a friend. I'm a +1. He was like, oh, okay, well, tell me what you about. Blah, blah, blah. We started talking. He was like, man, that's fascinating. Why don't you come to my office and see me tomorrow? And he handed me a big ass suitcase full of money. I was like, come on in the room, Jeff Goldblum. Come on in the room and unhand the money, baby. Unhand the loot, right? So anyway, I told y'all the stream. This girl inboxes me because I didn't even know anything about the show. She's like, oh my God, you got to watch the show. Jeff Bloom is starring in this new show called Chaos. So I was like, I love him so much. I've been obsessed since I was a kid. I love him. So I was like, let me watch this shit. I'm gonna tell you, Jeff character's got me in my feelings. Okay. I love Jeff Goldblum. His character in this show got me conflicted. Got me so conflicted. Anyway, the show is called Chaos. He plays Zeus in the show. Okay. He has his son, Dionysus. Dionysus' character, there's so much nuance in the show that I find a little tropish and frustrating in the tropishness. You feel me? Because I get it. Like Hollywood's doing this thing right now where they're super politically correct. And in that politically correctness and in trying to I feel also the fact that because the movie industry has changed so radically since COVID, people are trying to explore angles of how to keep the dividends coming in. You feel me? And so there's so much kind of forced tropish shit that exists in the show that I find annoying. I find annoying, honestly. But outside of the obviously tropish shit, I have Dionysus' character is so annoying. So annoying, right? And that's not so I brought out a book because we're gonna talk about this shit. I'm gonna talk about it so I can come back later. Y'all don't have to listen, but I'm gonna talk. So I pulled out one of my little books of mythology because we're gonna talk about these characters because the show, first of all, they took a lot of liberties with these stories. Fine, that's fine. But this there's a kind. Now I have to be very careful about how I state this. There is a kind of I don't know how to state it without it being controversial. There is a kind of weakness in the presentation of several of the male characters in this show. Now, when we look, and I'm a woman I'm 50, I'm 49. Let me be honest. I'm 49. I just round up because whatever. I'm 49, right? And I remember, as a matter of fact, I just started yesterday watching the old Lou Ferrigno version of the story Hercules. And so in my youth, the 1970s and 1980s, the retelling of all the Greek mythologies, what is his name? Jason and the Argonauts, whatever. You see, quote, men's men as the quote heroes going out and sailing the 7 seas and doing the things and whatever. And the women were, beautiful, amazing, whatever, damsels, whatever, right? And so I get why there is kind of a switching of the guard in the way these stories are told. But even Zeus's character, and even though he is malignant as Zeus has always been, his character seems not, quote, like a god as much as he seems like a neurotic lunatic who is a sociopath coupled with extreme ADHD tendencies, coupled with, you know what I'm saying? It's like his character, it's like, and not, and in the craziness and in the sociopathy, and because he is a sociopath in this show, right? It is the way that it is presented is like he's supposed to be, you know, the god of thunder and lightning, you feel me? And he is very it's just weird. I'm still working that out. I'm still working the nuances out, but he is very flimsy, if you will. He is very flimsy, if that is a word I can use to describe the character development that is Zeus. And with him being flimsy, playing at quote hard, playing at quote domineering and masculine, but flimsy at the same time, you feel me? His wife, Hera, is, even though she's quote supposed to be beautiful, she is very almost alpha in her presentation. Like, even though she is supposed to be stereotypically beautiful, her presentation is very typical masculine, right? Like, she runs Zeus, right? It's just, it's weird. And then I'm getting to a point, so just walk with me. Y'all know I'm always getting to a point. Just walk with me. Dionysus character, the god. So I don't know if y'all know about Dionysus, but let me just tell you a little bit about Dionysus, the god of wine, the god of sex, the god of ceremony, the god of madness, Dionysus, right? The son of Zeus and Semele, Demeter, Persephone, or Lethe. The most common story regarding Dionysus' conception involves Zeus and Semele, when Hera convinced Semele to act in a way that angered Zeus greatly, and Zeus struck Semele dead with a lightning bolt. Hermes saved the 6-month-old fetus Semele had been carrying and sewed it up inside Zeus's thigh. When Dionysus came to full term, Hermes delivered him, an event reflected in the translation of Dionysus' name, which means twice born or child of the double door. On Hera's orders, the Titans tore the infant Dionysus to shreds and boiled his remains. Dionysus' grandmother, Rhea, rescued those remains, reconstituted the infant, and entrusted him to Persephone, who passed him along to King Athyamus and his wife, Ino. They raised Dionysus as a girl, a frequent portrayal of him as a long-haired, effeminate youth. But Hera, nonetheless, eventually recognized him. Zeus, and they play that relationship out a lot in the story, this antagonism between Dionysus and Hera. Zeus had Hermes transform Dionysus into a kid or a ram after Hera recognized him. This story too is like repetitive. It's like replete through several mythologies. You remember supposedly the Abraham, was it Abraham that was blind, and he had the 2 sons, and the oldest son was supposed to receive the blessing, and this was the son that he had with his wife, and then he had his another son with the concubine, Jacob, I think, and the concubine, right, wanted her son to get the blessing, and because Abraham was blind, and what's his name, the other son, I forget his name, Shem, I forget, Ham, I forget, child, I forget. But anyway, he was hairy. That's how Abraham would distinguish between the 2 of his sons. His younger son had, he didn't have no hair on his arms. He was smooth. Esau, thank you, child. Y'all be up on your Bible game. Cool. Esau, so he was the one that had the hairy arms, and the younger son didn't have hair on his arms. This is how Abraham would distinguish the 2. And his mom, the second baby, was like, look, you need to get this blessing. You feel me? And so she put sheepskin, was it sheepskin or ram skin, on his arms to disguise him so he could receive the blessing from Abraham. That story is replete. As a matter of fact, that's what saved Zeus supposedly from his father, Kronos, who decided he was going to eat all his kids because there was a prophecy that said that one of his children were going to overthrow him, was going to overthrow him and kill him and take his power. You feel me? This is in the show, y'all. This is in the show. So Zeus, think it was, I forget who it was, but it was one of Zeus's, it was like a woman, a female goddess, I forget, a goddess who saved Zeus. Maybe it was, I forget who it was, but she saved him by disguising him in sheepskin, and gave Cronus a rock that was swaddled like a baby. And Cronus swallowed the baby, and he was like, okay, cool, I killed all my kids, I ate all my kids, so can't nobody rise up against me. Meanwhile, Zeus is being raised in the cave or some shit, and that's how he was able to get away, was because he was decided. This is a common motif in several of these stories. I haven't figured out the why, but the sheepskin is like important. Anyway, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but Dionysus, let's see, blah, 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 blah. Y'all don't have to know all of that. The long haired, he was disguised as female, whatever. Dionysus then went on a mad drunken rampage that took him to Egypt, where he allied with the Libyan Amazons against the Titans in an attempt to restore King Ammon to his throne. Dionysus then went to India, which he is said to have conquered, where he introduced viniculture. On the return trip, Dionysus, blah, 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 blah. One of the daughters, Okay, so this doesn't really go into as much detail as I would like about who Dionysus was. It's more about like where he began. But Dionysus' character, to me, I find is equally problematic as Zeus's character. It's like the whole whatever. I don't even have to go into that. Dionysus, though, is the turn-up man. In every mythology that you read about Dionysus, he is not only the god of madness, he is the god of epiphany in madness. They call him the one who makes you crazy. That they would go into the woods and they would go into ceremony, that they called it orgies and shit, but it wasn't just blind orgies and people having sex. It was using medicinal herbs, plant medicine, wine, and sex to go into the madness that brings trance. He is the god of madness, but not madness like it's been reduced to crazy, madness that brings epiphany. That's Dionysus. His character is a very powerful character that has been reduced to just a wild, crazed sex maniac, right? Then, so let me just tell you some big points, and then I'm gonna round this out. I really enjoyed the show. I did. I enjoyed it because there were interesting takes on these stories. I don't know if you guys have noticed that the retelling of Greek mythology, in particular, in a lot of these stories, Greek mythology, Babylonian mythology, is from like the 1970s and 1980s. The retelling of these stories is about humans rising up against the gods. Every single retelling. So, like, one of my favorite stories growing up was one of my favorite movie adaptations of Greek mythology was Clash of the Titans. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I'm talking about the original Clash of the Titans. Love it. But in the original Clash of the Titans, there was no theory, there was no theme of humans being at war with the gods. It was like Zeus was supporting Hercules, or what's his name? Yeah, Zeus was supporting, no, it wasn't Hercules, whoever it was, right? It was all about support, how the gods really are benevolent and they really look out for you, and they only be doing that bullshit when people offend the gods. In the retelling of Clash of the Titans that came out in like 2010 or something like that, 2010, 2012, something like that, it was humans staging a contest with the gods, and the gods recognizing that when the humans don't worship them, they begin to get weak. Okay, this is an ongoing theme in the retelling of a lot of these stories. Even in that movie, the Disney movie The Eternals, which is Sumerian or Babylonian mythology, it is the same thing. It is about humans and lower level entities. They're not deities, but they're not humans. These Eternals, these people who are immortal, but they're not gods, right? They function between, like our Orisha. They're not gods, but they function as emissaries between men and God, or humans and God, right? And these immortals come to realize that they have been used as weapons against the humans. Meanwhile, they thought they were on Earth to like support the humans, right? But they were really supposed to be preparing the humans to get to a certain stage in human development for the, for what they called Tiamat to come and consume the essence of the planet. What's that other one? Jupiter Rising. Okay, I watched the movie many times because of the theme and like the shit that's in it. It wasn't well executed. So Channing Tatum, what's that other girl name that's married to what's his name? Whatever. Anyway, the execution of the movie was not great. However, it's worth watching because of the message and the symbology that's in the movie, which is crazy deep. Jupiter Rising, right? But the same thing. These people who we perceive as gods, who are not gods, they just live longer, way longer than we do, way longer than we do, way longer than we can conceive of. But they're essentially colonizers. They go to these different places in the universe, and then they ended up finding Earth, where there was this bottomless pit of human essence from which they could survive off of, right? Now, what does this have to do with chaos? Because in the next to the last episode, I'm not going to give much. Well, yeah, there's spoilers. Okay. I don't like to give shit away too much, but there's spoilers. In episode 6, there's 8 episodes. In episode 6, so there's a whole bunch going on. But in episode 6, so what happened? There's all these multiple layers of stories happening. Okay. There's the Zeus Hera thing happening. There's Dionysus trying to prove himself to Zeus so that he can get more responsibilities. So there's the story that's happening between Zeus and Hera, and Zeus freaking out because Zeus has received prophecy, and gods, being immortal, are not supposed to be able to receive prophecies. But he has received a prophecy from the Fates that says, a line appears, a family falls. A line appears, a family falls, something, and chaos reigns. Okay. So he gets this prophecy, but he does not know that there are 5 other characters in this show who have received the exact same prophecy. A line appears, the family falls, blah, 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 chaos reigns. Okay. So he's freaking out because he is convinced that the family that is going to fall is the family of the gods. The gods is about to fall, and this prophecy is predicting the end of their reign. So he is going through a whole host of changes, trying to figure out how to stop the prophecy from coming to fruition. Meanwhile, so that's him, Hera, and his prophecy. Then there is the relationship between Dionysus, who's trying to gain favor with Zeus, and this guy he gets stuck on named Orpheus, who is a singer. He's a rock star, right? And he ends up hearing Orpheus play, and he's like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. And Orpheus is always singing about his wife, Eurydice. Okay. Eurydice don't love Orpheus no more, so she plotting her moves. Okay, she trying to get up out this relationship. She ends up meeting Cassandra. Cassandra's like, you gonna leave your husband today. Today's the day. You gonna leave your husband today. And so the whole day she's like, damn, how am I gonna do it? Like, because I don't love him anymore, but he's obsessed with her. So that story's unfolding, which is fucked up. But she has the same prophecy. Eurydice, Zeus, Orpheus, then another kid whose mother turns on him and sells him out to these warriors, and they end up coming and killing him, and he goes to the underworld. But because he was buried without a coin, he's stuck in limbo, right? He's stuck in limbo because he was buried without a coin to cross the river, to get over to what they call the frame, to get over to the other side, right? Which everybody wants to get to the other side, because it means you're either going to go to the next level or you're either going to reincarnate. Either way, it's going to be better than the life that you had before. Everybody wants to go to the frame. The story between Hades and Persephone is crazy. Okay. And then those are the big stories. Eurydice dies. The day that she is told that she is going to leave, Cassandra's like, you was going to leave everybody, not just your husband. Today's the day you leave. And she thought it just meant her husband because she fallen out of love with her husband. She ends up getting hit by a bus and dying. And because her husband, quote, loved her so, before they could put her in the ground, he took her coin out of her mouth so she couldn't cross over, because he was going to make a deal with Hades and go into the underworld and try to rescue his boo. Like, yeah, it was messed up because the whole time she's thinking she can go on to a better life. Her mother is a priest to Hera, and Hera demands that all her priestesses, their tongues be cut out so they can keep a vow of silence. Crazy shit. Anyway, in episode 6, I had to give y'all that background because there's all these unfolding stories happening at the same time. In episode 6, though, now Eurydice has died. She is trapped too in limbo because her husband took her coin so she couldn't cross over. So she and this other kid who have the same destiny, the same fate, right? Start noticing that something's happening in this place of limbo in the underworld. They follow this guy into this hole in the ground and go down into this hole trying to rescue him. And they see a sea. As many droplets of water as in the ocean is as many humans that are in this place underground. And all of these humans are humans that should have, quote, crossed over into a better life or reincarnation. So they're sitting here seeing the decayed, lifeless, almost like compacted ash bodies of all of the sea of humans. And then they hide because they see Hades find the guy that they chased down in there, and he took his essence from him, like what his soul should have been. Like his soul should have ascended to the afterlife or come back to reincarnate. Hades took his soul, took his essence, and they're freaking out. They're like, oh my God, all these people thought they were going on to a better life, and they're trapped down here, lifeless, soulless. Why? They find out why. Okay, so Medusa down there too, right? And they find out why. And Prometheus is telling the story. So Prometheus is the narrator for the whole thing. And what happened is the so-called gods of Olympus were not gods. The gods of Olympus were two mortals, but they had found a way to become immortal. And the way that they were able to become immortal was to steal the essence of human beings. But in order to be able to, without conflict and rebellion, siphon the essence, the souls of humans to feed them, what they did was they created mysteries. They created ritual. They created ceremony. They created pomp and circumstance. Do you hear what I'm telling you? This is what they're saying in the movie. That what they came. So there's this big, giant, beautiful fountain as soon as you go into Olympus, and the water forms the shape of an O that's always moving, always moving. And what's his name? Zeus has all these little these like boy helpers. What does that remind you of? Aquarius as the water bearer. He has all of these very young, teenage, quote, good looking, athletic children constantly running him water, constantly running him water. This is the moment. Okay. So they're constantly going out to this big, beautiful fountain, filling up these jugs, bringing him this beautiful water or whatever, and they're drinking it like it's going, they call it meander, drinking it like it's going out of style, right? And so come to find out that the water that the water bearers are pouring for the gods on the regular is the condensed souls of all the human beings who thought they were going to heaven or thought they were going to reincarnate. That the fountain, the quote glitch in the fountain was human essence, was human souls. For hundreds and thousands of years, they had been harvesting human souls to gain immortality because they too could be killed. They too were mortal. Now, did that sound familiar to y'all? I'm talking about if you remove the mythology, if you remove the esoteric essence of that shit. Does that sound familiar to y'all at all? And anyway, are y'all still here? Because I know it's late and I've been talking a lot. And I might be just talking to myself as a way to study, because I am going to do a more thorough breakdown of this. I might just be talking to myself by this point because it's late with the rest of y'all at. Baby, he said, as a matter of fact, Zeus got mad because Zeus was like freaking out. Like I told you, he was neurotic. He was running around. He's like, everybody out to get me. Everybody out to get me. He was trigger happy. He was shooting the water boys. Y'all, he was shooting the Aquariuses. I'm telling you, he had the cute little water bearers, the cute little boys lined up on a roof doing target practice with them. And each one of them would fall to the ground. This is the water bearer. That pours the waters of heaven. I said, God damn. As I'm always talking to you guys about what it means to enter into the age of Aquarius, what the dangerous representation is of us entering the age of Aquarian. Dangerous for who? Dangerous for those who have ruled for so long. The age of Aquarius, entering into the age of Aquarius, represents a potential threat to those who have ruled without accountability and without question. We just default. Let them rule. Default. Let them rule. No matter how fucking bad our conditions get, we just default. Let them rule. We just default. Let them rule. We just default. We only got one or two evils that we can choose. We just default. Let them rule. We just default. Let them rule. Even as the world is falling the fuck down around us, we just default. Let these motherfuckers rule. And so because Aquarius, the water bearer, he who pours the divinely inspired waters of heaven onto earth. That's what Aquarius is called to do, is to change the motherfucking game, is what Aquarius is charged to do. And they have Zeus, aka Jeff Goldblum, playing target practice with the divine water bearer. Right? I said, oh my God, yo. The fuck? So anyway, so Zeus is getting more and more paranoid because he's like, everybody, I can't trust nobody around me. Everybody out to get me, right? The fates, baby. I told y'all the other day I had an attitude about the fates. I do not give a fuck. As much as we have been talking over the last year about who the fates are and how, according to Greek mythology, the only people that Zeus feared, the only entity in the universe that Zeus feared was the Fates. The fates had so much power that even Zeus himself could not override a decision made by the fates. This is their relationship. The fates, the divine weavers of the threads of destiny, of the entire universe. This is the fates, right? And in this movie, in this show, the divine weavers of destiny, those three who determine the birth, life, and death of every single organism on earth. They even define time, they even define the fates of the gods themselves, the fates. Child. I was dismayed. The lead fate. So, the fates are always pictured as either three sisters or like Hecate or Hecate, tomato, is the maiden, the mother, and the crone, right? The maiden, the mother, and the crone, which makes sense as the weavers of fucking Faye, right? The weavers of the threads of destiny, right? In this show, it is a trans woman is the lead fate. A white trans woman is the lead fate. And the two other fates, one is a black non-binary female-born person, and the other is a white male-born non-binary person. You feel me? These are the fates through whom everybody is going to. This conflict with the intertwined fates of all these people, all these stories are unfolding, the gods and the humans, is handed down by these fates. In the last episode, now mind you, Greek and Roman mythology say that none can destroy the fates. None can destroy the fates. That nobody can undo their judgments. Nobody can evade their punishments. And the punishers, the executioners of their punishments, is the Furies. They too are a sight to behold in the story, Chad. They are a sight to behold in the story. So in the last episode, because Zeus is so paranoid about this fate unfolding, and he is certain that it's talking about the end of the gods, that he goes and says to the fates, they're like, well, we know everything. We know why you're here. And he was like, what you mean you know why I'm here? It was like, we know you came here to kill us. He was like, okay. And they were like, well, okay, let's get to it. And he was like, y'all ain't gonna run or y'all ain't gonna fight back. They was like, nope. We already know what it is. We already know everything, right? And so it was like, you need a little help because you're looking a little skittish about the mission that you came here to execute. So they take the fucking gasoline and start pouring the gasoline all over themselves. They was like, you was gonna use fire, right? He was like, yeah. They was like, well, let's get the show on the road. They pour gasoline all over themselves. He lights the fire and destroys the fates, kills the fates. Hey, Cassandra, wish you and Ron Hayes, Chief Pontiac could do a live together. One day y'all will have a fire live. Zeus, sociopathic lunatic that he was, quote, destroys the fates, but the essence of the fates still exists. So people can still hear the fates talking to them, even as Zeus has destroyed their, quote, physical form. I said, what the fuck? Minos, I think is his name, Minos, and his son, the story of the Minotaur and the Labyrinth, that's a whole nother story too. That's a whole nother story that's unfolding, is this story between, so there is this girl, I forget her name. She is the daughter of Minos, who is the president of Greece at the time. Troy has been destroyed. And so the people who survived the Trojan War, they live on the outskirts of the town as outcasts. They poor, they disenfranchised, they down, and the Grecian government is constantly giving them hell, taking their rights, how it be, fucking with them with the police, you feel me, doing all kind of terrible shit. And they are tired. They're like, this some bullshit. Like we done paid our dues, this and that and this and that. Like we need some justice. They erect the capital, the government erects a shrine to the gods, and they sabotage the Trojans, sabotage the shrine, replace the shrine with a giant pile of shit. Zeus flips out, right? He's like, I want everybody dead. Everybody that shit on the shrine, I want them dead. I don't want them dead in no gentle way, though. I want them to fight the Minotaur, and I want them to be completely disemboweled and strung up at the city gate so everybody can see you can't disrespect the gods. But there's this whole fucking movement happening, not only with the Trojans everywhere. Everybody's like, fuck the gods. One girl, what's her name? Eurydice, who goes to the underworld. She said, that's why I'm in the underworld, because I said fuck the gods, right? Because the gods, she said, took her mother. Her mother was a priestess for Hera, who they forced this 5-year-old girl to watch these people cut her mother's tongue out so she could be a silent priest for Hera. Hera had a giant room, ceiling to floor, thousands and thousands and thousands of tongues, because the tongues of the priestesses kept the secrets of all the people who came to confess to them. So everybody that would come to confess to the tongueless priestesses, it's like the tongues would communicate their prayers to Hera, so she could keep all the dirt on everybody that came to make confessions to her. Crazy shit, y'all. But the undertone, like, yes, the mythology is cool. The unfolding of the story is kind of crazy, radical. There's some next level shit up in there. But it, to me, is what I'm always saying. You got to watch between the lines. It's that shit. It is the fact that there is a movement and the gods are feeling it in their body. Everybody is under pressure. Everybody in Mount Olympus who's supposed to be living high on the hog, who's supposed to be just chilling. Zeus comes down in regular people clothes. He's like, let me see what's going on down on Earth, because I'm feeling uneasy up in here. You feel me? I feel like shit falling apart around me. Let me go down to Earth and see what they got going on. He goes down in plain clothes, y'all. He sees some men on the basketball playing basketball. They laugh and they high-fiving each other. We did that. Hey, they playing basketball. They happy. He sees a couple walking, holding hands. They snuggling. They like, oh, I love you. I love you too, boo. Right? Then they see like a mom pushing a baby in a stroller. She's happy and the daddy's happy and the baby's happy. Everybody's happy. Zeus is mad as fuck. Zeus is walking around on Earth like every time he sees somebody happy, he got an attitude. He ain't walking around. He go back up to Mount Olympus and he calls Poseidon. He's like, yo, like what the fuck is going on Earth? Poseidon's like, what you talking about? He's like, man, nigga, why everybody happy? And Poseidon was like, I don't understand why you mad. He's like, everywhere I went, I saw people happy. People were just happy. There was just peace. People was chilling. This is what he's saying. Poseidon was like, what's your problem? He was like, bitch, don't you know that when human beings are happy, they do not need to worship us? If human beings experience too much peace and happiness, they do not worship us. Poseidon was like, man, you tripping. He was like, no, I'm not. He said, we need to create calamity out this bitch. And he proceeds to go on a whole strategic campaign written all over the wall. Stage 1 calamity, stage 2 calamity, stage 3 calamity. Boom, 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 boom. This is how it's going to start off slow. Then it'll be shocking. Then it'll ease back a little bit. He said, these motherfuckers need to hurt. These bitches, we can't afford for these bitches to be happy. We cannot afford for them to experience a minute of peace. That's what he said. Can't afford for them to experience a minute of peace. As soon as they get too peaceful, as soon as they get too happy, they stop worshiping us. And without their worship, we are nothing. That's what he said. I said, oh, Oh my God. So who are the mortals that we know who have put themselves in positions that are like gods sitting on Mount Olympus above us all, untouched by any of us, unaffected by our lives down here on the ground? Do we know anybody like that? Do we know any mortals who have propped themselves up as gods among us? We know anybody like that? Do we know anybody who are mortals who have put themselves in positions never to be touched by the sadness, the sickness, the lament, and the woe of the many? Do we know anybody like that? Can we name anybody like that? Do we know anybody who is mediocre, sociopathic, but has created an illusion of immortality for us? We know anybody like that? The fact, baby, because there's one thing I've never heard in any retelling of this mythology. I've never heard a version of the mythology that had the gods as mortals fronting immortality. Never. I've never heard that. Never heard that. I said, okay. Mortals pretending to be immortal, outliving the many, because the only way that they can live that way is to literally suck and leech the pure essence, the pure joy, the pure bliss, the pure ecstasy from the lives of the many. That sound familiar at all? That sound familiar at all? I'm sitting here watching this shit. I was like, what they say in plain sight, confident, arrogant in their confidence, that we will not watch. Not really. That we will not peer behind the veil. Not really. That we will not see beneath and behind, between the lines of what they're put right in our face in real time. The opulence. Y'all have to see the show. Y'all have to see the show with fresh eyes, y'all. I'm about tempted to do an episode by episode, play by play of what you need to see behind the pomp and circumstance of the show, because it's filled with it. It's filled with pomp and circumstance, baby. It's filled with it. It's filled with it. It's filled with it. I'm sitting here like, man, they are really arrogant. They ain't even they ain't even gotta hide the shit no more. They said, look, we ain't gods. We got y'all niggas fooled. We are not gods. That everything that we possess, including our lengthened life expectancy, we stole from you. And you gave willingly because of our betrayal, because of the stories that we told to you about heaven and about an afterlife of peace. That all you have to do is comply and act right and obey and do what you say, do what we say without question and without challenge. That's all you got to do, is be good on earth. Do what we say on earth. Be compliant, no matter how terrible what it is we are asking you to comply to. No matter how terrible it seems to you, you don't have the capacity to understand, because you are not like us. You are not like God. You understand? And so you don't need, what a Christian saying? Well, don't nothing happen without it going before the sight of God. So he must have approved it. We ain't omnipotent. We can't know the why. All we have to do is trust and have faith that no matter the massive amounts of calamity and loss of life, we say it happened because God willed it so. Don't we do that? We say that. We accept that no matter how tyrannical the aggression against another is, everything passed before the sight of God, so we must have willed it for some reason. It ain't our place to understand or to question why. This movie, this show, y'all. This show, child. And then I'm going to tell you, there's another part of the story. This is the last thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to leave y'all alone. So you know how maybe about 2 months ago, I was talking to you about this period where I had eaten a fistful of mushrooms and I was doing this little dance with the mother. And she said, girl, why you always talking about Capricorn like Capricorn is your enemy? it's in your chart for a reason. And instead of bucking against it, why don't you lean into it? Why don't you research if there's any period in time where Saturn has been female? Where Saturn has been female. You feel me? I was like, okay. And I told y'all that the pre-patriarchal identification of Saturn was as great grandmother crone. Great grandmother crone. Okay? Now, who did they say the quote father of Zeus and the Titans are? Kronos. They didn't even bother to change the name. Grandmother Crone to Kronos. She who, what do they say? She is the divine fate, the weaver of all time and destiny, right? So Crone, Grandmother Crone, becomes Father Cronus, Father Time, right? That's what y'all call him, Father Time, who devours his children because he is told in the prophecy that his children are going to betray him, overthrow him, and steal his power. Isn't that one of his children will, right? But if you change that story to Grandmother Crone, she who weaves the threads of destiny and all time, Grandmother Crone, right? And if the story, right, the story is that she receives a prophecy that one of her sons will turn on her and absorb her power. What was her power? The power of time, the power to define time. Absorb her power and destroy her in the process. That story hit different, don't it? That story hit different. When you change the gender of the planet that has been seen as the great evil of our time, Saturn. The great evil of our time, Satan as Saturn. The great evil of our time, the six-sided hexagon on the pole, the North Pole of the planet Saturn, that makes it the great malefic. The great malefic. Huh? That shit hit different, don't it? That shit hits different, don't it? When it is her son that destroys her, absorbs her power, and erases her from human memory. Don't that shit hit different? Well, in the story, they talk about this conflict between Zeus and Cronus. And it sounds a lot like the story I just told y'all. I was like, so yeah, that is just a brief little, not even heavily, because y'all know I can get real deep with my movie reviews, like real intricate. I didn't get intricate with this one. I just wanted to talk to y'all about it because I'm like, man, this shit is like, it's not even hidden in plain sight. It's in your face. It's butt naked. It's butt naked. It's butt naked. Greetings, everyone. So sorry I'm late. You're never late. Voiceovers by Stephanie Marie. You're always on time, boo. You're always on time. So anyway, that's how I'm gonna end. Yeah. So I have a lot to do tomorrow. Book your readings. If you need to book a reading with me, again, if you book a reading within the next 48 hours, I will send you a gift. Goddess necklace of your complexional choosing. So you can choose the light-skinned, the light-skinned goddess who is tea-stained. And I'm making these to order. The uncolored goddess. This is just bare bone. The stained purple goddess. I love this color. The stained purple. These will be strung. They will not come like this. They will be strung on, on a leather strap. I will have the chakra stones in their belly buttons. I will have the ohms at the top of their head. But I'm just showing you the naked ones that I don't have strung yet. So, and also I have the short goddesses. right? So you can see how they lay. The short goddesses I like a lot too. And then I know, right? The purple stained one is jamming. Then this is kind of a dark ebony brown, almost mahogany brown stained one. And then this is a straight black stained one, like solid black stained one. Right, you can see she's got her little spiral in her belly button. She too will be strung like the rest of these. They will come with a strap, wire wrapped, with the chakra stones, with some. I almost now always have the Om symbol, the third eye symbol, illuminated in them, also with the crown chakra stone, the crown chakra crystal. This is more often how I string them, and I also use inverted and like triangles to show the harmony between the divine feminine and the sacred masculine. So if you want those with the upward facing and the downward facing triangles, this one, the one with the triangles, I don't have any strung right now, but the ones with the upward facing and the downward facing spiral on the same goddess are really popular among LGBTQIA people and men, for that matter, because like gender non-conforming people, non-binary people, these are the ones with the upward facing and the downward facing triangle are really popular with them. But all of them are what do you call it? Asexual. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can wear them and it has the same energy. We all got a mama. We all got a mama. So anyway, book your readings within the next 48 hours and you will be receiving, and these are priced on my Etsy page for $63 and they sell really rapidly. I had, I don't know, 30 of them made over the last 3 months. And these are the only 3 that I currently have left already made. So I have to string the rest of these for you, but they sell really rapidly. They're probably my most popular piece. They're radical pieces. They're hand carved out of deer bone by a native sister that I met, I don't know, 15 years ago in Florida. I order exclusively from her. And then I stain them and I string them, I wrap them. So anyway, that's that. If you need a reading from me for tomorrow, which is the fall equinox, it's a really, really powerful day. It's a very harmonious day to receive a reading. And you can receive those readings, like I said, optimally within 24 hours before and 24 hours after the cosmological event. But the next week is really radical because we're in the eclipse season. So we had the lunar eclipse last Tuesday, October 7th. We have the solar eclipse, which promises to be a big event because it's an election year. And what do we always say about October? October during an election year always promises, because these malignant motherfuckers in positions of power always do this thing they call the October surprise. Google it. The October surprise. And you can probably Google like October surprise election year, right? And it'll give you the history of the quote October surprise, where they pull some big catastrophic okey doke on people to terrorize them one last time before going to the polls, right? And so typically in the past, it's always been something catastrophic. It's always been, some shit like a mass shooting or a school shooting. Last year, eclipse season last year, what happened? That damn testing of the emergency broadcast system, and just a few days later, the beginning of this unending conflict in Palestine and the Middle East right now. So be preparing yourself mentally to not. Even last week, I wasn't going to talk about it. I'll just mention it in passing, but I'm always saying, watch these astronomical events, because these motherfuckers plot so strategically, so specifically. How about I didn't have my social media on all day Tuesday for that lunar eclipse? And towards the end of the night, like maybe 9:00 at night, I got a call from a sister, and she was like, "Girl, I can't believe today, man. This shit is crazy. I can't believe they did this. Yada yada yada." She going off. She's like, "We got to go on we got to go on YouTube and talk about this. Let me interview you again." I was like, "Whoa, I don't know what you're talking about." She's like, you haven't been on the internet at all. I like, hell no, deliberately. It's the lunar eclipse. You feel me? No, I ain't been on social media at all today. Period. She's like, yo, girl, they arrested Diddy. You feel me? I was like, oh, here we go with this shit. You feel me? Aaron Pfeiffer says she was in London at this time last year when they were doing the testing of the emergency broadcast system. But last Tuesday, of all the days, was it an accident? Was it a coincidence? There ain't no coincidences. There ain't no coincidences. They decided the day they're gonna execute this arrest warrant is on the lunar eclipse. A very powerful lunar eclipse, by the way. And this shit is only gonna get deeper. And even as the world is falling apart, we caught up. We are caught up. Not just that. What else happened this week? A lot of crazy shit happened this week. We and in the United States, how it was not top news everywhere. That the only place it's been blowing up is on TikTok, which is how I found out about it. All these women were talking about it, and they just kept hashtagging this woman's name. And I go to Google her name, and right now, this week, a 72-year-old woman is involved in a trial where she found out by accident, y'all. She found out that it's so bizarre that for over a decade, her husband had been drugging her to the point of unconsciousness regularly and allowing random men to come into the house and sexually assault her while she was asleep, while she was unconscious. This had been happening for a decade. There are, what did they say today? 62 men on trial for this woman's rape. 62 men. Her husband would go on to these like dark web sites, these chat groups, and invite men to come to his house and assault his wife. I'll poison her tonight. You can come over tonight. 62 men currently on trial for the rape of a 72-year-old woman. 62 men. That happened this week. So I just feel like we at a point where we got to be pulling jack moves. You feel me? In opposition to this shit. Now, I have some ideas about that. Instead of, for 1 week during that damn eclipse, instead of us doing our quote personal power mantras and our personal affirmations, we need to be collectively deciding on some names. We need to function as the Fates and the Furies for a week. That's what we need to do collectively. Males, females, all the genders in between. Anybody who out here believe they got power, we need to be functioning as both the Fates and the Furies for 1 week, from tomorrow to Equinox until after that damn eclipse. We need to be consolidating. We need to be focusing on 5 names, 5 known criminals, 5 known self-proclaimed gods on earth, 5 Olympians. And I'll be honest, the names I'm thinking about, only maybe one of them is a politician. That ain't who I'm talking about. Only maybe one of them is a politician. You feel me? In my estimation, I didn't even realize that was going to yet. In my estimation, the names that I got in my head, they ain't politicians. The names I got in my head are self-proclaimed Olympians. They are plutarchs. You know what a plutarch is? They are oligarchs. You know what an oligarch is? 5 names that 10% of us, 10% of the people in the United States, that for 1 week, instead of saying, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am wise, blah, 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 that we focus our conspiracies on those 5 names. Can we get 100,000 people to do that? Can we get 1 million people to do that? How many people there? How many people there in the United States? 300, so almost 400 million. Can we get 4 million people to do that? For 1 week, from the equinox to the eclipse, just call these names as fates and furies, as judges and executioners of punishment to those 5 names. Can we do that? That's what I'm on. That may not be what y'all on, but this love and light shit, that's not what I'm on. Nope. Nope. I love those who care about my life. I love those who care about the planet. I love those who care about the mother. I love those who are not malignant and harm others. That's who I love. Yep. That's it. And the mother has phases and faces. And this face of the mother is avenger. This face of the mother is she who seeks vengeance. That's the face of the mother right now. She who executes judgments on those who have harmed the many. That's who she is right now. That's who she calls on us to be right now. Those of us who are about this life to expend our valuable ashe to condemn those who have harmed her and her children. That's what she calls on us to do right now. That's the shit I'm on. That's what my quote prayers. That's what my conspiracies are about right now. How you think you about to acquire your wealth? How you think your wealth is about to come to you? If the simultaneous unhanding of your stolen wealth does not happen. How you think that's about to happen? How you about to wish wealth into your life without the simultaneous unhanding of your stolen wealth happening at the same time? That's what my conspiracies involve. You feel? Hey, Tajali say I'm ready to walk into my villain era. Come on in the room. If that's what we got to be, let's go. Let's go. No love and light. Not right now. We can welcome the rising of the new sun once we have moved through the dark. Once we have embraced who we are in the dark. And that move is a long one. That ain't no No, we don't need to be talking about no sunrise. We don't need to be talking about no everything in the line. None of that. None of that. No, right now the mother wants us to move in the dark. Stealth flight. You feel me? With an infrared lenses on. You feel me? I'm just saying, y'all. This is big energy. This is big energy. The mother wants us to have what is ours. She does. She wants us to participate joyfully in the restoring of her glory. The joyful participation in the restoration of humanity is going to be just like Kali. Wait a minute. Where's she at? Nope, she ain't up here. She over on the other side. It's just going to be like Kali. Kali is her best. Oya is her best. Sekhmet is her best. Pele is her best when them bitches is burning shit to the ground. When they is destroying some shit. They ain't dancing when it's peaceful. When have you seen Kali in the dance when it's peaceful? That ain't her story. She is, baby, she is fully in the dance when she wrecking shit. She in her bag when she wrecking shit. That's when she in her bag. Oh, y'all, she ain't kicking up storms when shit copacetic, when shit peaceful. She ain't kicking up storms then. She was like, oh, no, this shit decadent. All this dead shit in the way. Can't make no room for growth, evolution, forward motion. Let me pull my little pretty skirt out and start wrecking shit. She gets into the dance, baby, when she wrecking shit. She in her bag when she wrecking shit. That's when that's when she in her bag. Pele is in her bag when she is wrecking everything she touches. And in the wreckage, she ensures the new has a place to grow and bloom and blossom. So that's what we got to be on. Now, I got names already up in my head. Like, we need to call with every ounce of venom with every ounce of vengeance, with every ounce of rage we can muster. We need to be speaking their names. We need to be speaking we need to be speaking their names like we are fire-breathing dragons out this bitch. We need to be speaking their names like we are fire-breathing dragons out this bitch. Now, if you're interested in the names I'm talking about and you want to share them with your friends and your homies, you too can send me an email, releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. Releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. I'll send you the names because we can meditate on them 5 names together and wait to see the evidence of the mother's response to our demand. This is how you begin to measure, is your magic working? Is your magic working? Are you speaking to the mother? Is she speaking through you, or is it your imagination? You feel what I'm saying? You're out here talking shit. This is how we can begin to measure what collective ritual actually can create for us. What collective, organized, strategic ritual can manifest for us when we use our ashe in our favor collectively. You feel what I'm saying? And because all these abundance prayers and abundance checks and all that shit y'all be doing, I don't know where you think abundance is about to materialize without these motherfuckers unhanding our shit. That's real. Without the simultaneous unhanding of that which has been robbed from us. So yes, mother, yes, bring the wealth. Let it rain down on me. You feel me? But I know exactly where it's got to come from. I know exactly where my wealth, where my mama wealth, where my big mama wealth, I know exactly where it's got to come from. And it ain't no hard work and pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. That ain't where the fuck my wealth is coming from. That was the motherfucking case. Every black woman on earth would be rich beyond measure. That ain't where it's coming from. I know exactly where my wealth has to come from. I know their names. I know their names. I know the kids' names. I know exactly where my wealth has to come from. So when I'm doing my abundance prayers, I know in my mind's eye exactly where it has to come from. These motherfuckers have to unhand my shit for my abundance to be poured down on me. You feel me? That's my position. That's my position. Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. You feel me? Because I got a long day tomorrow. Anybody out here feeling what I'm talking about? Anybody out here want to know the names that I'll be meditating on when I be doing my abundance prayers? Goddess, thank you so much for my wealth, the wealth created by my mama, the wealth created by my grandmother, the wealth created by my grandparents, the wealth created by all my ancestors. Thank you so much for this period where I can finally reclaim that which has been stolen from me and mine. Thank you so much. I look forward to the day when I can stand up and greet my wealth. Where I can stand up and greet my wealth. Yep, that's my prayer. Because I know exactly who it has to come from. Thank you so much that vengeance is mine. Thank you so much that justice is ours. Yep. Thank you so much for this realization that we are just in our demand for revenge. Yes. Yes. We are just in our demand for revenge. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much that I am here in this moment, crystal clear about what has the potential to make the world right. Thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for the ability to see. Thank you so much for the ability to hear. I am so honored, so fortunate to be where I am, where I can see, where I can hear, where I know. After having been blinded for so long. Y'all better hurt. You better hurt. I don't be telling y'all these stories for no reason. This story that I just watched on this TV over the last week, Chaos, child, if that wasn't butt naked and plain as day, he said, look, while I'm up sitting up here on Mount Olympus, I cannot afford for y'all to take a breath. For y'all to have a moment of peace means my possible destruction. That's what he said. For y'all to have a moment of peace means my possible destruction. I cannot afford for you to have a moment's rest, a moment's peace, because you will be able to see. And what does the mother say in our deck all the time? It is only through a well-rested you that I do my best work. When you rest, you can hear. When you rest, you can see. That's why your boss won't give you no sick days, bitch. That's why you have to work 40, 50, 60-hour work weeks with side hustles and shit. Is because those who have proclaimed themselves gods over the rest of us cannot afford for us to have a moment of peace, a moment of stillness, a minute of presence. Because as soon as we are present, bitch, we plotting to burn this bitch to the ground, to erect the new, to erect the radical, to erect something so powerful, so amazing. I will not be this old man keep coming up on my shit on my Facebook page. You know, talking about why you ain't trying to vote for don't come on my shit with that. If that ain't your position, good for you, boo. Do not come on my shit. First of all, in your arrogant audacity, presuming you're the smartest motherfucker in the room, you are not smarter than me. You aren't smarter than me. Presuming that you know something more about the electoral process than somebody who has openly stated, I will not be voting in a presidential election. Until we overturn and create something new where people's power actually matters and actually serves them, I will not be participating in that shit. You will not steal my essence. I will not be complicit. I will not be complicit in that shit. And I can say that as an educated woman. Don't come on my shit thinking you know more than me, trying to preach on my shit. What you mean you ain't gonna vote for Kamala? Trump. That's what got y'all in this motherfucking shit right now. Anything but Trump. While Biden walked your ass into 2 wars that ain't got shit to do with you. And using your billions and billions and billions and billions of taxpayers' dollars not to serve you, but to serve their interests elsewhere. To serve their imperial interest elsewhere. You, taxpaying citizen, voting taxpaying citizen, you are complicit by default in the execution of fucking war crimes right now somewhere else. You are, because you voted. You voted for Biden. You did that. And I ain't trying to make nobody mad and get nobody up in their feelings, but that's what this shit is. This is what it's created to do. What did the character in goddamn Suicide Squad say? She said, it is my profession to condition people to function against their own self-interest. That's what the terror campaign to force you to go and vote for Biden did. And we have to take responsibility for that. We can't just say lesser of two evils, and not go back and understand how our vote for, quote, the lesser evil has had us marched 2 months after his inauguration right the fuck up into a goddamn aggression that had nothing to do with us. But they saw their interest, their material interest met by it. And then 6 months after that, another aggression. Here this nigga done marched you into 2 wars, and y'all can't take responsibility for putting him in office. Anything but Trump. Yeah, Trump is a piece of shit. So what you gonna do? You gonna do the same thing again? Well, we gotta vote for the lesser two. When is the lesser two evils gonna exhaust you? When is that gonna do? When are you going to have the modicum amount of audacity that your so-called founding fathers had to be like, fuck that, we over here across the water. England really can't do shit to us. The crown can't really do. Why don't we just do something new? We just do something different. Fuck them niggas over there. That's what they did. That's what your so-called founding fathers did. They was like, nah, bump that. We got the fucking advantage. You understand? They got to come from a long 3-month trip across the water. They be sick and tired. Shit, when they come, we got the upper hand. Let's just stage a contest, build something new, something radical, something never before seen in Europe. Let's do that. That's what they did. It took audacity for them to do that. Fuck that. We gonna do something totally new. Scratch this shit. Let's go. We ain't loyal to the crown no more. Y'all ain't had that kind of confidence. Y'all ain't even had enough confidence to vote for a third party. Buying the bullshit. Well, you can't really waste your vote on a third party. Well, damn, what is a waste of a vote on a third party when you get rocked to sleep every time you give your fucking power to a diabolical institution and get fucked by either one? Every time I can go down the list of the last 10 presidents and specifically how you got fucked by each one. Black, brown, red, yellow, white, po, don't matter. You all got fucked by every fucking president for that matter, but especially the last 10. What you gonna do? Y'all ain't even got enough confidence to vote for a third party, much less do anything else dynamic. Same old shit. Y'all ain't even done an assessment of how you got fucked by Biden. You got fucked. Yeah, y'all was barely recovering from the travesty created by COVID. Y'all was barely recovering when y'all put that dude in office. And he wasn't in office 2 months before he marched you into a multi-billion-dollar aggression in Ukraine and between Ukraine and Russia. 2 months in office. You understand what I'm saying? So shut up. Shut up with that shit, man. Do what you gonna do. If you gonna go give your vote to Kamala, cool, good for you, motherfucker. But stay off people's shit, presuming that you know more than everybody else. Stay off people's shit. Let people do what the fuck they want to do with their electoral democracy and shit. But stay the fuck up off people's shit with that dumbass shit. Because y'all did that. Y'all did that. I didn't do that. That ain't no shit you gonna put off on me. The massacre of all of them black skinned people in Libya under Obama's administration, that ain't no shit that can be put off on me because I didn't vote the nigga into office. Y'all did that. I understand why you did it. Because your ass been perpetually rocked to sleep by the narrative, by the pomp and circumstance, by the coon dancing, by the sharp swag, you understand what I'm saying? By the black, well, at least he got a black wife, by the black wife, by the black fact that the nigga could play basketball. You feel me? Y'all got rocked to sleep by pomp and circumstance. And unless you go back and do an honest assessment of what your relationship is to empire. America is empire, and it don't give a damn who sits in the office, boo. They can be black with a motherfucking afro. As long as they serve empire, they'll put whoever the fuck they need in office. They'll put whoever the fuck they need in office. A vagina, a uterus, an afro, some braids, it don't matter. Because they still serve empire. And y'all, with your short-term ass memory having ass selves, will be like, anything but Trump, while Biden has literally raped you. Literally. What happened to the student loan forgiveness? I know about 2 people that got their student loans forgiven. What about debt relief under Biden that he was promising so much? Your debt relief? Mine ain't. And I've been working class since I became an adult. Your debt relief? I don't know nobody whose debt was relieved under the Biden administration. What else? What else he promised? You got any better health care? Is your health care any more decent than it was under Trump? Wait a minute. What else? What else he promised? You feel me? Come on, y'all. Did he say did he tell you why he was campaigning? Well, you know, I appreciate your vote and I look forward to your vote because as soon as y'all vote for me, I'm going to rob you in broad daylight through the support of corporations by the tunes of billions of dollars to participate in, if not low-key start 2 aggressions, one in the Middle East and one in the Eastern Bloc. I'm going to do that. So while I'm investing, because this is an investment, war is an investment for empire. So I'm investing billions and billions and billions and billions of your taxpaying at what, 88 billion so far, just in the thing happening in Palestine. Billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of your motherfucking money. Money don't just come out of nowhere. Don't just spring up the fuck from nowhere. For every dollar this country has spent somewhere else, it represents a minute, a second, an hour of your fucking life. That we generate that. It's our labor that generates these billions that have gone to create these aggressions in the Democratic Republic of Congo, in fucking Sudan, in Sierra Leone, and where else? In Nigeria, in Ghana right now. That America is directly tied to, not indirectly, directly tied to these aggressions happening all over the continent, in the Middle East, in the Eastern Bloc. Every single solitary dollar is your life force being robbed from you to support empire. Every dollar. Every dollar. So this show is showing that our wealth, as our essence, as our souls, being literally, you can see our souls leaving these ash-like bodies, going into what becomes the condensed, beautiful water of immortality that feeds the gods. That's your essence. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people, as far as the eye can see, trapped in the underworld, literally their essence being leached out of their body to support the longevity of those who have propped themselves up as gods over the rest of us. I was like, they ain't even trying to hide this shit. We still watching this shit like this is mythology. We still watching this show and reading these stories as if this is mythology. We think mythology means fake, not real. We still watching this shit like it's mythology. And they're saying, don't you see? This is real life. This is your life right the fuck now. Right in this minute, this is your life. That your very essence is being leached from you. And the chaos campaign, which is your cinema, which is your music, which is your movies, which is your social media, this is your chaos campaign. Because what did Zeus say when he was walking through the streets and he was like, these niggas too happy. They need calamity. This some bullshit. Why people up in high-fiving, hugging their babies and shit? He was mad as hell. This nigga was like, these niggas too comfortable. We need calamity, goddamn it. We need it right now. Poseidon was like, damn, man, like the humans can't catch a break. He's like, hell no, they can't catch a break. Because when they catch a break, they stop worshiping us. When they have a clear moment, they stop focusing on us. Child. This show over the last, because I crack watched 8 episodes. This shit had me in my goddamn feelings. I was like, these motherfuckers are so audacious. They are so confident in what they see is our stupidity. They so confident. They're like, we can put this shit butt naked in their face, and they still won't know what the fuck hit them. Damn. They still won't know what hit them. We can spell it out in plain English. Nigga, we is robbing y'all blind. To the point that you don't even deserve a minute of happiness. Not what we concerned. We don't give a fuck about y'all having no happiness. We gonna give you all the stories, all the prayers. Vero, we honor the gods. Vero. Shout all the pomp, all the circumstance, all this, it's all in there. All the ceremony, all the beautiful outfits, the beautiful songs, the dad, Minos, child, diabolical, monstrous bastard that he was, was told a prophecy that he would die at the hands of the child that drew the first breath. You will die by the hand of the child that draws the first breath. His wife had twins. Y'all. I'm giving away a big one now. His wife had twins. And the twins were like 3 years old. When he decided, well, what we learned in the beginning is that the son died. And the daughter that was left, the twin daughter that was left, was constantly plagued by the death of her brother, because she had been told since she was a little girl that while they slept together in the same crib, she rolled over on him and suffocated him. So she had been living with this severe guilt and grief because she was like, I can still feel him. It's so weird. I know it's crazy. I know he's dead, but I can still feel him. Her mother, so permanently grief-stricken by the loss of her son, that she forced her daughter, she almost hated her daughter, forced her daughter to dress like a man once a year on their birthday so that she could have a wax presentation of her son made after her daughter in drag, in male drag, and had the wax son and her daughter a birthday party because she was so unrecovered in her grief at the loss of her baby, right? This son, oh my God, I loved him so much. And she said she would constantly tell her daughter this story because she really treated her daughter terribly, because in her mind, what she had been told was that her daughter rolled over on her brother and suffocated it. She was the reason her son was dead. And so she had this resentment towards her daughter, this real resentment. Her daughter's trying so much to get her love. So the daughter's 30 at the time that she shows up in the show, y'all. And so the dad loves the daughter. Anything you want, I'll do anything you want. I love you so much, whatever. The mother doesn't like the daughter. She's grief-stricken. She's basically crazy, right? And the daughter is just going through so much. But they say in the movie that the only time you see the Furies is if they're after you. They're coming for you, right? So she goes to this event and she sees the Furies, and she's like, I knew they were going to come for me. I knew they were going to come for me. And her friend was like, the Furies are not coming for you, but I killed my brother. She had been grief-stricken, guilty and grief-stricken her whole life. I killed my brother, though. He was like, yo, girl, you were a baby. You didn't do that on purpose. That was not malicious. The Furies are not coming for you. That she says, why do I keep seeing these bitches? Why do Furies keep coming for me? But the Furies, if you know the story of Greek mythology, the Furies functioned as the executioners of justice for the Fates. The Fates make the judgment, the Fates make the decision, and then the Furies go and carry out the judgment. You feel me? And so that's what they say. The only time you see the Furies is when they gunning for your ass. She was seeing the Furies everywhere. But she was seeing the Furies because of this fate that was tying all of these people together, gods and humans alike. This fortune, this destiny that was tying all of them together. And so the Furies was showing up for her to see, because they were like, look, you got a destiny, baby. It's big, and it's coming down the pipe. We ain't come to take you. We ain't come to kill you. We just came to put you on game, baby, put you on blast. Your destiny is big. And you got to get over this guilt about your brother. We did not come here for you, for your brother, right? Baby, come to find out. Her mother used to say, yo, loud ass. Girl, when you were born, you was just screaming. Ugh. It was like you was just screaming. She would just always say that, yo, loud ass. You came into the world screaming, right? But the other thing was the baby, her brother, was born blue. So even though he was born first, he was born blue. And so because he was the firstborn, the father was like, I have to kill him. The gods told him, you have to kill him, because if you don't kill him, he's going to kill you, right? He's going to kill you. But he loved his son and he didn't want to kill his son. So the next best thing was he locked his 3-year-old baby into a fucking cave underneath the castle, into a prison underneath the castle, and told people, don't talk to him, don't read to him, don't do any, just put him in there, feed him, and that's it. And he turned into an animal, right? And he got so aggressive so young, and then that he started killing people. And so they created a mask for him that made him look like a bull, hence the Minotaur. So they made this fucking mask that was like locked onto his head with these horns in it. And then and so the dad was like, well, at least I don't have to kill him, and at least he can serve a purpose. He can serve the empire. So when people would transgress against the empire, like the Trojans who shit on the thing, they would send them down into this cave, into the labyrinth with his son, man. And his son would kill whoever came down in the labyrinth. Well, finally, the girl, the sister, something happens, and she is told, that's what happened. She is told by the Furies, the reason that you can still feel your brother is your brother is still alive. And she was like, what? It was like, your brother is still alive. And they were like, what? She's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? She's crying. She's freaking out. What do you mean? What do you mean? Talk to your father. Talk to your father. And she was like, I'm not talking to my father. So she went to talk to this guy who basically she grew up in the castle with them. And he was like, yeah, your brother's alive. He's the Minotaur. Your father locked him away, told him the whole story. Your father didn't have the heart to kill him. So he put him down in the labyrinth by himself, whatever. And he turned into an animal, this, that, this, and that, right? She's like, I want to go see my brother. So they go down into the labyrinth. And her and the brother are instantly bonding. She takes the mask off of his face. He's crying because he can't even talk. Nobody has talked to him. He can't even talk. The man has thrown, he's 30. The man has thrown his child into this motherfucking prison for the fear that this child was going to kill him. But then Poseidon comes to him and is like, yo, you have to kill your son. You have to defy your prophecy. His prophecy was that the first child to draw breath was going to kill him. He's like, you're going to have to kill the Minotaur. This is the only way that there can be hope for the gods, is you have to prove that your destiny, your fate can be defied. Y'all, that was what he said. You have to prove that your fate can be defied. So you have to kill your son before your son kills you. So they give him this dagger. He's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to kill my son. But he didn't have his son down in a motherfucking cave for 30 years. He ain't home feel guilty about that. But now they tell you got to kill your son, and he crying. I don't want to kill my son. I don't want to kill my baby, right? He go down there with the blade because the guys are like, you ain't got no choice. You kill him or we gonna kill you. That's what you got. That's what you working with. So they give him this divine blade and send him into the labyrinth to kill his son. But he does not know that his daughter and the other dude are already in the labyrinth talking, they're bonding. She's crying, he's crying. He's got his head in her lap. She cannot believe that this person she's felt her whole life is living, right? The dad comes around the corner intending to kill the son. They go to battle. Boom, 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 boom. The son gets the best of the dad. They think it's over. Then all of a sudden, the dad rebounds, kills his son, slits his throat, stabs him in the liver, kills his son. She is screaming. She's hysterical. She has just been reunited with her brother after 30 years and watches her father kill him in cold blood. She's over his body in one area. Like, she's on one side of his body. The dad is on the other side of the body. And the dad is saying, we had to do this. I had to do this for us. The God sanctioned it. The gods are going to bless us for this. The gods are going to bless us for this. And he said, this is the prophecy foretold that he was going to kill me. And the God said, I had to kill him. I had to defy my fate. I had to defy my fate. And she gets this look on her face because he tells her what his fate said. His fate said, the child that draws his first breath will be your end. And she gets this look over her face. I got chills just telling you. Ooh. She said, you were wrong. You were wrong. He was like, what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? She said, my brother was born blue. My brother was born not breathing. I am the one that drew first breath, and takes that knife and stabs his ass right in the heart. I said, oh my God. Yo, shit. Yo. Ooh, that scene fucked me up. She said, you were wrong. My mother always said I was born screaming. I'm the one that drew first breath, and stabbed his ass right in the heart. Drug her brother's, because her mother had lived in absolute grief for 30 years. Mania. Reproducing his image every year in wax form of what he would look like on his birthday this year. She drug her brother's dead body up to the castle. Ma, Ma, my father did this. This is my brother. She's crying. She's crying. This is my brother. This is my brother. She said, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Dad, he did this. He had him locked up in the cave. He did this. He did this. And this woman, like her scream, y'all. Oof. She was like, my baby, my baby. You could just feel, oh, child, that shit was raw as fuck. She's holding her son, my baby, my baby. Ah! And then the daughter, she's crying, the mama's crying. And all of this time, she has been living in the shadow of her mother's hatred of her, in her insanity, in her grief. She said, Ma, I got something to tell you. I have to tell you. I killed him. I killed Dad. And her mom stops screaming, and she turns around and looks at her and grabs her daughter and gives her the biggest hug and says, good. I'm glad. Good. And kisses her and hugs her. Child, I was in here sobbing. She was like, good. And you could hear the context. This monstrous motherfucker feigning to be a good guy did this to my baby. Watched me suffer for 30 years while our baby was below our feet. Oh my God. Oh my God. She kissed her baby. She kissed her daughter. She hugged her daughter. Good. I'm glad. She said, your destiny is huge. She said, you rule this now. You rule this now. I said, oh my God, child. Oh my God, this show. I told y'all this show got me in my feelings. I'm about to watch the whole shit, all 8 episodes, all over again. Show am. Over the next week, I'm about to watch the whole thing again. This shit, the timing of its release, I'm just like, boy, they don't even play hiding no more. They don't even play keeping secrets no more. Because they know you still ain't watching. They know you still ain't looking. Mm-mm. It's just entertainment. Just bubble gum for the brain as far as y'all concerned. Just bubble gum for the brain. The story of Dionysus is one that's plaguing me because I know there's something deeper that I'm missing. So I'm gonna rewatch all this shit. But now I'm gonna go because it's 11:38 and I'm tired. My kitty is sitting here, so let her say bye. Girl, you sleepy. You sleepy. You little panther looking like a little panther. She's so cute. You're looking like a little panther. Little boo thing. All right, you guys. Well, this has been fun. So I told you, see, YouTube, we did it on YouTube. Not a glitch. Not a glitch. So it's that StreamYard with that bullshit. So I'm gonna have to figure this out. How I can keep how you can make donations. You can still do super chats and super thanks and all of that stuff. Down below the screen, you can still join as a subscriber at the below the screen or whatever. And yeah, I'm gonna say good night. I got a lot to do tomorrow, so this was fun. I needed to get this off my chest. I needed to process it out loud. And so more to come on that, but in the meantime, we're going to finish reading Beyond God the Father next week. I'm going to try really hard to just plow through. Maybe we can just save digressions for, I don't know, something else. I don't know, but I got to get through this book. It doesn't make any sense that this book is so light, and I'm still not halfway through the book. This is where we at. This is how thin the book is, and we still just chugging along. So I want to go ahead and finish getting this read and figure out what I'm going to do next, whether it's going to be medical revolutionaries, which I really think I hear you, Tajali. I don't know. Just knowing the story, the backstory of Dionysus, that's why I'm conflicted about his character in the show. Because Dionysus is the Christ figure. I don't know if you know that, but Dionysus' story is the Christ story. It's the Krishna story. So I think that's probably where his meekness comes from, like his desperate need to, quote, please his father. And it's like really meekish and almost sheepish in its execution. But there's another side of Dionysus that is the antithesis of the Christ figure. It is the complete antithesis. Like Christ is, the abstinent, ascetic, no wife, no sex, no sin. He has to be sinless in his life in order to ascend into heaven or whatever. And Dionysus in that personification is the antithesis, the slipping into madness to achieve epiphany, the eating of the wild ivy and drinking of the wine and orgies to experience religious epiphany. That's what the orgies were for. They weren't just, quote, just fucking. It was ritualistic orgies for the purpose of descending into ritualistic madness. And so I'm still trying to, because they don't even show that aspect of Dionysus, which is his personification. They don't even show that aspect of Dionysus in the show at all. They show him as the sheepish, meekish, childlike teenage boy who is desperate for the approval of his malignant sociopathic father. That's his whole character. That's his whole role. And I want love. I want to experience love because he doesn't experience human love. So he's envious of people who experience love. And because he senses love is deep between Orpheus and Eurydice, he's like, that's what I want. So I'm going to help Orpheus go into the underworld to get his boo back because I think their love story is awesome. Meanwhile, he doesn't know that Eurydice doesn't love Orpheus. She's not in love with Orpheus anymore or whatever. It's just a weird dynamic where his whole thing is defying the order, right? Because no human has been able to go into Hades and return alive, bringing somebody from the dead. And so he's like, if I can prove I can bring somebody back from the dead, like if I can support him in his bringing back, somebody from the dead, then maybe that will give me clout with my pops or whatever. I don't know, but it's a very sheepish kind of relationship that does not demonstrate in any way, in any scenario. There's no demonstration of the power of Dionysus, like the things that are like defining characteristics of Dionysus and his influence particularly on humans, his relationship to humans and his influence on humans. That's not demonstrated at all in the first season of the show. As a matter of fact, like I said, his character comes off like a man-child, like he might be 12 or 13, not 12 or 13, 21, 22, like very young, wearing rainbow-colored necklaces, like candy necklaces, like the little rainbow-colored candy necklaces that we just like, very childlike and desperate for the approval of his malignant father. So I don't know. I'm still working that angle out and like what it is they're playing at with his character, because he's a central character in the story, but his character development is confusing. But anyway, yeah, I'll have to think about that. They represent the man who wants to be involved and is not allowed to. I have to think about that because I think there's something deeper going on with this Dionysus character. But anyway, it's a good ass show. Whoever turned me on, you did good. I don't even remember, but you did good because this shit got me caught up. All right, now I'm going to sleep. Good night, you guys. Book your readings. In the next 48 hours, receive a goddess necklace. All right. See you later. Let's see how I get out of here. Oh, there it is.